Hey everybody, good morning. Just headed down to Grand Lake this morning. Got another Fish the Moment on the water lesson today. Man, another raw day out there. It's yesterday we were at Stockton and it was in the 40s. It rained all day long. I mean, pretty hard rained all day long. You know, maybe 10 mile an hour wind. And this morning we got 33 degrees, 25 mile an hour north wind. And it's one of those mornings where when you get to put gas in your truck in the morning like I did, you don't even want to stay outside. You want to get back in your truck. It's sort of one of those mornings. So anyway, headed down to Grand for that. And going to take this time just to do today's YouTube video. And again, pertinent to the situation we're in. And I get a lot of questions on this as far as dirty water jerkbait fishing. So today we're going to have a conversation about how to catch fish on jerkbaits in dirty water. And before we get started, just a couple little things here. Just wanted to remind everybody on this coming Thursday on fishthemoment.com, Johnny has his next seminar coming up, his next virtual seminar. And then on the 18th, Johnny and I are also doing one together, virtual seminar on pre-spawn patterns. And if you guys are interested, you can sign up for those on fishthemoment.com. Also, lots of good stuff, man. If you guys haven't been on fishthemoment.com, check it out. We got all the videos Johnny's been working on, super high quality, 20 to 30 minute videos. We got the lake map breakdowns we're working on. We got maps of all your favorite lakes. We got the on the water lessons like we're doing here, blogs. We got a lot more, just really cool. So check it out, fishthemoment.com. So anyway, let's get to the today's topic a little bit. There's a lot of questions that you get in jerkbait fishing, and probably the two biggest ones I get are concerning color and concerning water clarity for jerkbaits. And one of the most, I guess, misunderstood or challenging aspects of wintertime jerkbait fishing are fishing in conditions that have dirty water, because not everybody has lakes that has the typical clear water wintertime jerkbait scenarios. A lot of lakes around the country we have, they just stay, off colored all year long. So I want to give you guys a few pointers on, how to really approach this if you have those type of bodies of water, or if the water that you're fishing, maybe you've got some rain flushed it out and it got a little bit dirtier. Just like when I was at Stockton Lake, 2 days ago, we had 5 or 6 inches of rain this past week, and a lot of the creek and river arms had, a lot more color than normal to it. So first of all, you sort of have to get a basic understanding of, what water clarity does, what water clarity means to a bass, and the conditions surrounding that water clarity. When you're talking about cold water jerkbait fishing in off-colored water, the first thing you have to do is you have to ask yourself, is this a fresh change in the water clarity? Like, was it due to, some type of a runoff or rain? Or is it just, that the lake is always this color? So, first of all, I want to say that if you have a lake that is just traditionally off-colored, like we're going to Grand Lake today, Grand Lake is, it's a stained water lake. You do have some cleaner water on the lower end of the lake, but overall, I consider it an off-colored lake, so all the time. So you have a lake like Grand Lake that stays stained all the time, but then you may have a lake like Lake Hartwell, Lake Lanier, some of the Ozark lakes, some of the eastern Tennessee lakes like Lake Cumberland that are traditionally clear water lakes that have been affected by runoff that creates a temporary situation of dirty stained water. And those are always tougher conditions. Anytime that you have a wintertime situation where you have water temperatures that are, in the 40s, which that's what we have across the country, and a large part of the country right now, water temperatures in the 40s. Anytime you have that, it makes the bite a lot tougher, in that fresh mud. So that's one of the things that you have to realize. And if you do fish a lake that has that new stain, that new runoff in it, my number one suggestion for that would be to get out of that area, because you have got to seek that cleaner water that's not as affected. Because normally what you have is you also have some type of a rise in the water level when you have a fresh amount of dirty water come into the lake. And those are the two worst wintertime combinations that you can have, period, for jerkbait fishing. For wintertime jerkbait fishing is a combination of cold water, dirty water, and rising water. So if you have a lake, like normally a clear water lake that's a good jerkbait lake, and you have that fresh dirt coming in, get out of that area. And you have to go find areas, usually they're on the main lake, that are less affected by that, and start looking for that premium water clarity. Now, if you're fishing a lake that has just consistent off-colored stained water, and when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about water visibilities of less than 3 feet, that is when you can capitalize on a wintertime jerkbait bite, even in the off-colored water, because those fish get conditioned to it, they get used to it a little bit. And it's all about the specific water visibility that you have, because here's sort of my rule of thumb. If you've got a water clarity in the lake that you're fishing that is below 12 inches, then you need to concentrate on other techniques besides jerkbaits, because jerkbaits are just not going to work hardly at all in cold water if you have less than 12 inches of visibility. It's a sight bait. Those fish will just not react to it like they will some other lure categories. Sorry for if the video's a little bumpy here, the road's bumpy here. So that's the number one thing. You have to search out those water visibilities that are between 12 inches and 18 inches. And that's what we're going to talk about today. When I'm talking about stained water, cold water jerkbait tips, I'm talking about the 12-inch to 18-inch visibility, which is about the minimum, in my opinion, that you should even try jerkbait on. So the key on that type of thing, there's a couple of different things. Number one, let's talk about the type of day, and time of day. If you're in a stained water lake, and you want to fish jerkbaits on there, you really need to pick days that you have sunny or partly cloudy days, because that light penetration in dirty water is so much more critical than it is in clear water. In the wintertime jerkbait fishing in clear water, I prefer cloudy conditions, but if you're fishing 12 to 18 inches of visibility, you're going to find out that those sunny days or the partly cloudy days, you get a lot more bites, absolutely a lot more bites. On top of that, another conditional factor is the wind. Ideal situation in stained water wintertime jerkbait fishing is no wind at all, and that goes against everything else that works in jerkbait fishing, because in clear water, even if the water temperature is 40 degrees, I like a little bit of chop on the water, not much at all. I'm talking about just enough chop to break up the surface, and that's about it. But in the dirty off-colored water, pick those days out there that you don't have any wind, or just a barely light wind. So sunny days, light wind. And what that does is that maximizes the bass's ability to capitalize on the strike sense that they have on the bait, which that's what a jerkbait is. So that number one is conditions. Second one is the area that you're fishing. If you're fishing that visibility again in water that's 12 to 18 inches of visibility, you're going to have two different groups of fish that you're going to catch. You're going to have those fish that are basically relating to the bottom close to the bank, whether it be rock or gravel or whatever. And then you're going to have, specifically if you have water clarity more up on the 18-inch side and not as close to the 12-inch side, but if you have that water visibility closer to 15 or 18 inches, the suspended bass that you normally hear about in jerkbait fishing in a stained water lake, they're going to be a lot shallower. So in that type of situation, I'm looking for bass to be suspended 3 to 5 feet deep over 5 to 10 foot of water, instead of 3 times that amount in a clear water lake. So I'm capitalizing on two different areas. I'm capitalizing on, say for example, those flatter points, flatter secondary points that just have a real slow taper into deeper water. And I get on those flat points. It doesn't matter what the rock composition is on them. It can be gravel, it can be mud, it can be rock, whatever you have in the lake that you're fishing geographically, and basically try to target that 5 to 10 foot of water, in that zone there. But my favorite way to catch the cold water wintertime stained water jerkbait fish is to get on the 45-degree angle banks in the lake that you're fishing. If they have larger rock, if they've got rock larger than like basketball-sized rocks, I like to get on those 45-degree angle, some type of a channel swing bank about midway back in the creek, and I parallel those banks with the jerkbait, and I'm casting that jerkbait right on the bank, and I'm concentrating into that 2 to 4 foot zone. And a lot of times, if you have those bright sunny days with not much wind, even if that water temperature is 40 degrees, those bass are going to be right up there on the bank, and they'll bite a jerkbait under those conditions. So that's the second thing. The third thing we're going to talk about is color. Color is key. It's right up there with one of the top things that you have to consider in stained water jerkbait fishing. And there's two colors that I use in stained water jerkbait fishing. And the first one is some type of a flat side. A lot of people, like in the mega bass line, they like the French pearl, that type of stuff. I prefer like the table rock shad, which is more of a pearl chartreuse side like that. Doesn't throw off a lot of flash. And those type of colors like that will attract bass visually from, if you can get the fish close to that bait, better than any other color under a wide range of conditions. At times, the fish will like a metallic finish on that. Just depends day to day. A lot of times there's no rhyme or reason why they want one better, but the second color I like is some type of a bright metallic finish that really puts off a lot of flash. So it's sort of a paradox. At times they want that flat finish that doesn't put off a lot of flash, but also it stands out, it sort of glows in the water. And at times they want those jerkbaits that put out a lot of flash. It just depends on the mood the fish are in, and also it depends on the depth that they're positioned in. I found that if you're fishing the bank fish, like the 45-degree angle banks, that the flat sides work a little bit better. And if you're fishing out off those flatter points in like the 15 to 18 inch visibility, where you're drawing those fish from a greater distance, and maybe up from a little bit deeper water, then the metallic finishes work pretty good. So, and third is the cadence on there. Anytime you're fishing cold water, the fourth aspect is anytime you're fishing cold water, dirty water, that is when you have to slow your cadence to a minimum. And I'm not a big fan of like fishing a jerkbait stopped, suspended, and not moving it for a long time under most conditions. But when I'm fishing dirty water, specifically in that 12 to 15 inch visibility, that is one situation, if the water temperature is in the 40s, that I will let the bait set a long time, because they need time to find that bait. They need time to be able to locate it. And even specifically more if you're fishing it around some type of a target. Say you're fishing down that 45-degree angle bank and there's like a big boulder that comes off the water, or you're fishing a real tight secondary point that's not very big, something where the fish are concentrated in one specific area. That's when I'll let that bait suspend and set for a long time in that cold water. So anyway, just to reiterate, here's the tips, here's the big keys to catching those cold water jerkbait fish. Stick to the flat side finishes or the metallic finishes. Fish those shallow flat points or the 45-degree angle points with a little bit, bigger rock on it. Slow your cadence way down and concentrate on those days that are sunny or partly cloudy. And if you have those combinations of all those four combinations, you can catch bass all winter long in stained water. It's not the optimum condition for that, but you can definitely catch bass in it. Overall, jerkbait fishing is better in clear water, but there are applications for that. And I've had some great days, fishing jerkbaits at Grand Lake. The biggest jerkbait fish I've ever caught in my life was in January down here at Grand Lake in stained water. So you can definitely do good doing that. So anyway, that's today's tip. I'm going to head down here and probably freeze all day at Grand Lake. We'll keep you updated. I got another on the water lesson tomorrow at Table Rock Lake, so we've got a big variety of places we're going here around the Ozarks this week. But anyway, guys, appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. If you like this video, hit that like button, and please subscribe if you hadn't. And we'll check in tomorrow with another video. See y'all later.